I'm literally already crying. So as you can tell from the title of this video, you know what's gonna happen. We're gonna talk about it. So yeah, just like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and we'll get right into the story because I don't want to waste time and I want the story to be as short as possible because there's a lot. Let's start from a little bit of background context to the story. I am from a small town named Coranda. I think that's really basic information you can find out about me, so I'm not going to change the name of the town. And it's a beautiful town, don't get me wrong, but small towns lead to so much drama. It's ridiculous, and I'm going to base my YouTube around story times because I've got 1,000,000,010 dramatic stories. So much drama, and the worst thing is I couldn't separate myself from anyone because of, like, I grew up with everyone there. I was a part of the community. I was there. I had to move, and I really don't want to go back because I can't leave the house without seeing someone I know, and that's just the perks of growing up in a small town. Secrets are just non-existent in the town of Coranda. Everyone finds out something about you and they'll twist it to make it 10 times worse. My childhood was, I loved school when I was little. I loved school. Coranda school was where this all happened, and you can figure out what school I went to, so I'm not going to change that either, but I am going to change names and all of that. So Coranda school was the oldest school. I don't know if it was the same age as Cantai, but it was like Coranda and Cantai were so old. When I was in year 2, like I don't know, this is just like goss, apparently some year 12 student fell through the library floor and they ended up demolishing the school and making a new one where the high school was, and the high school was like 20 years old, and this new school ended up just being built next to it. The high school and the primary school ended up becoming a lot closer. It became a college, and the primary and the high school became this tight. A lot of the kids at Coranda High were damaged individuals with damaged families, I'm not gonna lie. A large majority of them, not gonna lie. And the kids were still very innocent. The children were very innocent, and it wasn't a good idea putting the primary school and the high school together at all because the dynamic of the town has literally changed because of that. I grew up very, very close to the community, whether I liked it or not. As I continue my story, you'll understand why I hate this town. I hate it, but I love it at the same time. It's everything I know. Went to Coranda school all my life. Year 6 came around and this new girl comes in. We'll call her Jazz. We'll call her Yazzy. There were actually 2 new girls, and I remember like I was like in love with her straight away. Like I was like, that's gonna be my friend. My teacher asked who wants her to sit next to you, and I was just like, yeah. I was like, she can sit next to me, like she's my friend, that's mine. I don't like it. So basically, so I was like, come hang out with me, you know, when you're kids and it's so easy to make friends. I was 11 years old, I was 10 years old. We were really good friends through year 6, year 7, and year 8 came around and things changed. The dynamic of our friendship changed when we were 13. Once we hit high school, I started getting bullied a lot. Look, I was a black girl who wasn't the right kind of black in a black school. I wasn't the right kind of black, so I just set myself up for failure then. There's just so many factors. I was just different from everyone else in the school, and me and my sister got hit hard with bullying. My sister counteracted it by sitting in the science lab every single lunchtime with the teacher, and I counteracted it very badly. I just felt useless. Yeah, I felt pretty useless. Me and Jazz were very, very close. We were inseparable, like where one was, the other one followed. And we would run away together and hang out, and it was just like, I was just like doing anything to see her because she was my best friend. She was my the love of my life, and I held on to that. I hold on to love so much, whether it's a crush or a friend. I hold on to it, and I get really, really affected by it, and I need to sort that shit out because she left in 2013. When we were 13, her mum was getting very, very hammered with bullying, and we'll get into this. Let's talk about Yazzy. Yazzy. It's important to know that Yazzy had a very mentally unstable mother, which I didn't understand at the time because I was too young. And her family was very mentally unstable, a lot of her family. And she had a sister, and the school wasn't big enough to have all of this divided. So everyone in the school, there was like 60 kids, 60 kids in the whole school, in the whole high school, and we were just all friends and we all knew each other, and yeah, that's just how it was. Yazzy had a sister, we'll call her Gemma. The story gets pretty dark pretty quickly. So through my time being friends with Yaz, I couldn't see anything wrong with our friendship. We were so close. We hardly ever fought where we hated each other and we weren't friends for like a few days. We weren't that kind of friends. We were just like, if we'd fight, we'd just cry and hug, and we were inseparable, and people admired our friendship. Her mum was getting hammered with bullying, and the reason was she had a lot of kids around her place, and she wasn't fit to be having children around. So if you keep in mind, Yazzy, my best friend, was 13, and Gemma, her sister, was 15. She had a younger sister who wasn't as relevant in the story. Her mum was 31, I think. She was 15 or 16 when she had Gemma. She was very young. This is really hard. I don't know how to go about this story right now. Gemma was a really kind, happy person. She was so bubbly, and she was just crazy, and she was weird, and I remember she actually went to a Cairns school for a little bit, and then she ended up getting bullied because she was just so crazy and weird, and she came back to Cranda, and she just loved Cranda. Cranda was her heart, her soul, her everything. She loved everyone, and she was just so loving, and she didn't deserve what happened to her, and she didn't deserve to be treated the way she was. I know Yaz didn't have the greatest childhood, and I don't blame her for everything and the way she turned out, but my goodness. Here we go. Gemma had a lot of issues as well. She used to just have insane breakdowns. She's just so crazy and bubbly and just fun, and everyone loved her. And then like you'd be sitting in class and you'd see her like run past the classroom, and she'd be, this is so hard to talk about, I'm not even into like the deep part, she'd be like having a panic attack, like gasping for air, like crying. The things that she had said, what was going on at home and what went on in her childhood was just really messed up, and we shall not talk about that. She had multiple suicide attempts. Yaz would come to school and she'd be like, Gemma like tried to kill herself last night or whatever. We've lost a lot of, oh my god. The community has lost a lot of young people. Oh my god. Ew. Stop it. We were all, honestly, like, we were all just different. The students at Cranda were just different to any other school in Cairns. Yeah. So we lost a lot of young people, and Gemma included. I will go into the story now because I don't know when to bring it up. I'm actually just really scared to bring it up. So what happened to Gemma, basically, Yaz and Gemma's mum was getting bullied so much, and what ignited the bullying was that her mum had let Yaz have her friends, Gemma have her friends over, and she ended up sleeping with one of the boys who was 15 years old. The other people's parents were just losing at her because she just wasn't mentally stable and she wasn't mentally fit to be around children. She left, she took Yaz with her, she took Yaz's younger sister with her, they took their sick grandma with them, and Gemma stayed. Gemma wanted to stay, which is, you don't leave your 15-year-old child behind. You don't leave your child living with someone else in a town. You take your child with you. Your child's not someone else's responsibility. Not even a week later, Gemma was dead. Her mother were bullying 13, 14, 15-year-old girls and boys, saying that it was their fault that her daughter had died. So the story behind Gemma's death was that she was at a party. She got upset. She had very, very likely taken drugs, and she tried to supposedly walk home. Somehow she got hit by a truck. This is the part I'm scared to say because of how conflicted people became over this, and I think I'm going to be the first person to openly say, like, everyone knows except the family that she commits suicide. And it's very obvious. She was very sick. There's a whole grass area where you can walk. Like, if you trip, you're not. Anyway, the truck driver had stated that she ran at the truck, and he couldn't do anything about it. So the mother took it upon herself to start bullying. I didn't understand what was going on at the time, so just don't give me hate for this, but I took their side. I took my best friend Yaz's side, I took her mum's side, and I was on their side, and if anyone asked me about it, I would just be like, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. Her mum just was so awful to everyone that knew her or was there that night. Some people are so horrible. Like, how can you bully young people? They don't understand. And this whole incident, like, anyway. So we had the funeral. She was so loved. There was so many people there. I should mention as well that I was very close to the family. That's why I feel confident enough to speak up about this. Whereas a lot of people are just like, zip, keep their mouth shut. But I don't care. I'm gonna open my big up about this whole thing. So we had the funeral, all of that. It was a horrible time. A lot of the girls were just getting, a lot of the young women, children were just getting bullied, extremely bullied for this girl's death. The principal at the time, my mum knew very well, and I knew him. He had to address the situation because kids were mourning, and he sent out a letter saying one of the students had committed suicide and there was therapists and stuff available if anyone needed them, and the family went ballistic at that the principal had addressed Gemma's death as a suicide. They went absolutely ballistic. Because Gemma was part Indigenous, she had quite a big extended family. Her extended family ended up bullying this principal, but you know, it wasn't the principal, it was his children. His entire family got death threats. His children got death threats, like people saying that they were gonna break into his house and his children because he sent out a letter. It's disgusting. Yaz and her mother literally put a hit on him. He knew Gemma so... Gemma was such a good person. She hated her family. I should mention that. She hated her family. She hated her mum. She knew that she had a suicide attempt, and her mother literally went to the girls' houses and was like, I'm just gonna take her home, like, and just didn't even care. Back to the story. Yaz left again, and I didn't see her for 7 years, and we stayed friends for 7 years. When she moved to Perth, basically. So she was on the other side of Australia, so far away, and we stayed friends the whole time, best friends, and we would talk all the time for 7 years. And then she ended up getting into a little kerfuffle, going to jail. She bit a police officer on the neck, and I'm such an idiot. Like, you guys are gonna realize that I am the most easily manipulated person on the planet. Last year, before coronavirus happened, I let her, after she got out of jail, she moved in with me. I let her fly up, I bought her plane tickets and let her move in with me, which was the worst decision on the planet, and I will tell you exactly why. I literally believe, like, I had a beautiful house, I had a beautiful boyfriend, we were really stable until she came. And then my mental health was just going downhill, and it wasn't because of him, it was because of her. I should have known she was a crazy bitch when she went to jail for literally biting a police officer on the neck. And I was like, I'm gonna help you. I was doing everything I ever wanted to do, and I was just so proud of myself because I'd been through so much while she was gone. And I was just so excited to get her back because I was like, this was our plan the whole time. We wanted to just be boss ass bees and, you know, slay the world. And, you know, I can do that by myself, I don't care. And every single day she would find a way to put me down, and then she would say that I was competing with her, and I'm like, I'm not competing with you. Like, once upon a time, we were just two young girls with dreams and ambitions, and I wanted to do all of this stuff, and she wanted to do all of this stuff. And then it got to when we were 18, 19, and nearly 20, where I had started doing all this stuff that we wanted to do when we were kids, and she had just gotten out of jail. So it was, I hate when girls say that. She'd be like, you're making me feel shit because you have all of this and this and this and this, and like she would just like sit in her room, and I feel bad because like I know what mental health does, I know what depression does, but she was trying to drag me down to make herself feel better. Like she was doing everything in her power. She would be like, oh, I remember back in year 7 when you would copy off me, and now you're like in university doing all these great academic things. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, you don't have to be smart to pass uni. You don't have to be smart to get a scholarship in uni either. You just have to do the work. It's not hard. You just have to do the work. It's a lot of work. It's work. It's not academics. It is academics, but it's work. And it's more work than anything. And yeah, it was just like really silly things like that. And she just hated it. And then I think she's just started to resent me. Like, I was coming up to a big show and I wanted her there, and I remember we went to this local like beautiful pool bar where we were doing like a promo video for it, and I wanted her there, and I wanted her, oh wait, no, it was the same venue, but it was my modeling competition. Oh no, it was the actual competition, right? It was the actual competition. I wanted her there. We went at probably like 5 o'clock, and then like at 6 o'clock she left, and she didn't want to watch me do my run and compete, and it like really broke my heart because she was my best friend. I don't fully remember which event it was, but it was like something that was really big to me, and she left. You know, I didn't even care at that point. After that, I did my run, and she just hated everything that I was doing, and I was just doing things for myself. And honestly, the sad thing is, it was like me just starting out my empire. Like, all these things that I was doing weren't even where I want to be, and I've spent like all of 2020, well, 2020 was coronavirus, thank God, I have another excuse, but I feel like I wouldn't have done anything in 2020 because I was just recovering from her, like her. And she was so abusive when she was living with me. Like, every single day she would tell me that like I used to be stupid, and I used to be ugly, and I used to be just like, she would literally just try and put me down all the time. And then she would go to my boyfriend and say that I was competing with her and I was trying to make her feel bad, and he believed it too, which was like the really annoying thing. But like, the dynamic with my boyfriend was different because I would always say, like, I would always try to build him up, and like I like pushed him a lot because I wanted him to do more, which you can't change someone, but like that's a story for a different time. But like, I would literally just try to push him to be like the best he can be, and that's what I thought I was doing in my eyes. And if I look back at it, I was pushing him too hard, but I wasn't doing that with her. I was as gentle as I could be with her, and I was just like, remember when we planned to do this? Like, it's so easy, like you could do it if you wanted to. Like, even like going to the gym together, she would make me feel shit for like just wearing normal like active wear, because she would like wear this big baggy shirt, and she's like, oh, I don't feel like I feel fat, and like she would just say that. Like, she put on a lot of weight when she was in jail, but like to me she was beautiful because like I always admired her, and I always admired her even when she went to jail. Like, that's the crazy thing. And I feel like if she understood that, like, we would still be friends. But she was just like, I was just doing so much, and I wanted to do so much, and I wanted to make money. And now, like, finally I'm generating multiple streams of income. Go Jemima, go Jemima. Starting to make my multiple streams of income. So at the moment I'm so close to just getting 3 streams of income, and I can talk about that in I don't know. Yes, and I was just like working on wanting to be like wanting to make money, wanting to do modeling, wanting to do just all this stuff, and she had stumped me. I don't know if it was her that stumped me or coronavirus that stumped me, but it was just so hard to do all the things I wanted to. I deferred from my university degree when she got there because of her, like actually because of her. And I remember saying, you're here and I just want to spend my time with you now that you're here. So I deferred from my third year. And then I took a year off, and then I was getting really badly bullied at uni as well. Like I just get bullied because of girls that I went to school with. And then that were at uni with me, and I just ended up, after me and my partner broke up, I just ended up like literally a month later packing my stuff and driving to Brisbane during the pandemic, because I just hated everything in the world. I hated everything in Cairns. I hated everything. It's just, she was a narcissist. She gaslighted me. She was so horrible. Like, and then one night, all she would talk about is Gemma. I remember saying to her, we were drinking. Oh my God, she got physically abusive when she was drinking, and she said to me that she got drunk and then she told me a completely different story than what I read on the net. So basically she told me the reason she went to jail was because she doesn't remember because her antidepressants that she was on, and she blacks out when she like when she drinks, and it's such bullshit because I saw it for my own eyes that she uses it as an excuse to abuse people. So she blacks out, right? And she lost her ID in the club, and the club wouldn't let her back in, and she got really angry and they called the police. How damn angry did you get for the bouncer to call the police? A big man, very likely. Like, I don't see women on the doors being bouncers very often, so I'm just assuming this big man called the police on this like little 19-year-old girl she was at the time. Like, I find it very hard to believe. And then the story in the net said that she had she was in a fight which was a man that was allegedly her ex-boyfriend, and they had such an abusive relationship. She said that he abused him, and apparently she was punching him and stuff. So, and then the police came and tried to arrest her, and she ended up biting the female police officer on the neck. And I'll get the photo up.
A police officer is awaiting blood test results after allegedly being bitten on the neck by a woman. The officer was trying to get the 18-year-old into the station when the alleged attack happened.
It's again another example of police having to deal with substance-affected people, and look, it's a dangerous job at times.
The woman has been charged with assaulting a public officer, disorderly conduct and obstructing police.
That's the actual bite mark that Yazzy had put on her. And I believed her. And she said, like, they were so mean to me. Like, I don't know how the hell I believed her. They were so mean to me. Like, I didn't do anything wrong, yada, yada, yada. And I was just like, oh, like, I hate police now, and they put my best friend in jail, and that, like, even though while she was in jail I found the article, but because everything that happened with Gemma and all the articles, and that were false were going around, and there's so much stuff. Like, I was just like, I don't think the news lies that much, because when I go back to the articles that were going around about Gemma and her passing away, I'm just like, well, this is what happened. This is what happened. Like, I wasn't there, so I didn't know. And then I remember like going through Gemma's text with Yaz after she had died, and seeing all of the text to her boyfriend at the time, we'll call him Jeremy, like, he was just saying, like, she was literally like, I want to die, and he was like, you're scaring me, why aren't you replying? And she had, like, it was, the texts were coming through after her time of death. He was just sending like, you're scaring me, where, like, please reply, what's going on, da da da. Like, it's so clear that she had killed herself. She killed herself, and she was still like, no, she tripped and fell. And and it's fine when it's denial, like, I don't care about denial, but when you're literally bullying people, like bullying children, they ruined so many people's lives, and their excuse is, but that's my daughter, or that's my sister, and I don't care about anyone else. And I can understand that, but you don't put other people's lives in jeopardy and their mental health in jeopardy for the rest of their life, because your childhood trauma shapes you for the rest of you. Like, this shaped me, and that's why I probably stayed friends with her for so damn long, was because of this traumatic experience that happened. So one night we were drinking and we were having a good time, and then she like lost, I said to her, Gemma made such a big impact on everyone loved her, and she just saw red. Like, she literally saw red, and she's like, I don't care about what other people think, I don't care, I hate them all, da da da, like all this stuff. And then and I was like, why? Like, she like made an impact on everyone, and everyone loved her. But I think because she blamed everyone else for her death, like, it really triggered her when I said that, and she literally just like lost her shit at me, and she went crazy. And like, I was just like I was drunk too, so, and I didn't know how violent she was either, and I was just like I wish you understood that like the town, like, kind of changed after she passed away. Everyone loved her, and literally grabbed my pot plant that I got as a gift from my boyfriend's extended family, and like literally just like smashed it on the tiles of our nice house. And I was just like I didn't really care, to be honest, because I wasn't on the lease, but I was just like, bruh. And it like really scared me. And then she came up to me, and she was just like screaming, and she like started pushing on my chest, and then she literally grabbed her arm and like pinned me up against the wall. And I wasn't about to hit her. Like, I was just like I was in shock because of her character. And then she just like kept hitting me in the chest. And it took my breath away. And I was just like, what is going on? And I don't really remember much what happened after that, but somehow my boyfriend wasn't in the house at the time. He was away for work, and he honestly didn't really care that she had done that to me. And that's when our relationship started breaking, was when she like physically assaulted me, and he just didn't care. Yeah, and then I didn't feel safe in my house, and I was losing my mind over it after all of that. So the next day after that had happened, no word of a lie. So going back to how she says she doesn't remember what she did to the police officer, she doesn't remember doing it. She literally comes out of her room and says, I don't remember what happened last night. But the fact is I hadn't said anything to her. So, and she was so guilty. And I'm like, you know exactly what happened because there's guilt all over your face. Like, you're guilty. But if you don't remember what happened, you'd be like, what happened? Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. Like, you wouldn't be like, I don't remember what happened last night. And then I remember that she does a stare when she's like waiting for your response to her behavior. And it was like, forgive me. Like, she did it every single time. And I don't even remember what I said, but I probably forgave her, to be honest, because I'm a dumbass like that. And then everything broke after that. Like, my relationship started to break down. Honestly, like, because I seek safety in a relationship, and because I didn't feel safe in that relationship, I started to seek others that made me feel safe. And like, I remember literally one night I had such a big mental breakdown because of her. One night I had such a big mental breakdown because of her. I literally smashed a glass in my hand. Like, I smashed a glass in my hand. And the whole house, oh my god, the whole house didn't have locks on it. Nothing had locks on it. And the one room that did was the bathroom, and the bathroom had one door that went out to the kitchen and one door that went into me and my partner's room. And then she had a bathroom that went between her. And so every single time, like, if I wanted to get away from her, I tried to lock the door in the bathroom, and she would quickly like run around and come in through the other way. Like, the house was so small, but it was done up so well. But yeah. And then there was like, other than the bathrooms, which both of the bathrooms had double doors where she could just come straight around and enter the other way while I was trying to lock the other door. There was nowhere else to hide in the house at all. I remember one night I literally, we were drinking and I was like having a panic attack because I was scared. And I tried to hide, like, I literally tried to like be quiet and hide in the closet in my partner's room because my partner was away for work. And I was literally like, and she just like opened the door, and it was so fucking scary. Like, it was so scary. And I just like remember her standing over me. I was just like, but she wasn't angry when she opened the door at that point. She like sat down and tried to comfort me. But I remember like when she opened the door, like I shat myself because I was like, fuck, like what is she gonna do? And she had a lot of a few extra kilos on her, so she was quite big. She was bigger than me, and frankly I didn't want to fight, like have a physical brawl in the house because because like the house was really delicate. It was really easy to break everything. It was just one of those houses, like if you hit the door would like just fall off because it was like these Japanese sliding doors everywhere. Yeah. And then I got to the point where I just started to despise my partner because he started taking her side. And then it wasn't until like people started to explain to him, like after she left, she went back to Perth, people started to explain to him what she did when we were young teenagers, that he was like, oh, but like the relationship was beyond, it was broken at that point. So yeah. if, honestly, like, fuck that shit. So traumatic. Oh, and keep in mind, like, I literally paid for everything for her. I literally paid for driving lessons for her. I paid for her to get her license transferred. I paid for her 20th birthday. Like, we went out and I paid for her drinks and everything. I just did everything for her as best as I could, and she was just like, I remember how depressed I got. And now I can't make like meaningful friendships because every time I see, like, honestly, I just have PTSD from having a close girlfriend. So every time I get a close girlfriend now, like, we break off somehow because, I don't know, I'm scared. I'm genuinely scared, and I always try to find a reason to cut them off, to be honest. And I honestly think it's probably not my fault, actually. Like, I know my girlfriends back in Cairns will say, like, this isn't your fault, like, certain things aren't your fault, like, trust me. And I'll tell the stories when I'm, like, more, like, I'll tell these stories in future videos when I'm more in tune with myself and more confident in myself about these relationships and how they broke down. But, like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, to leave this story here. I'm so glad that you tuned in, and I will see you in my next YouTube video.